Black Panther Wakanda Forever is out. This is the first feature without Chadwick Boseman. So how do the film's producers deal with his unfortunate absence? How does this film measure up to the rest of the MCU timeline? Does this film continue the trend of god-awful post-Endgame Phase 4 films? And what about the rest of the characters? If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on all new reviews I put out weekly here at Off the Cover. And without further ado, on to the video. Even though he was only in 4 Marvel films, Chadwick Boseman's King T'Challa felt like an integral part of the Marvel mythology. Wakanda itself was supposed to be a springboard to other untouched areas of the Marvel Universe, such as Atlantis, which was teased way back before Endgame. T'Challa wasn't just a superhero, he was an icon and a symbol of greatness which brought many more fans into the fold. So it was hard to imagine the MCU and Wakanda without him. The film does its best to deal with the fallout of Chadwick Boseman's tragic and untimely passing. Not only does it address it head-on from the very beginning of the film, but most importantly it pays respect to not only King T'Challa, but Chadwick Boseman himself, a rare jest in the days of the dark ages of cinema. But lately, films are beginning to come around to respecting the past. Films such as Top Gun Maverick and Black Panther Wakanda Forever paid homage to the past, but also paved the way for a brighter future. So I'm very happy about how this film addressed the elephant in the room, with respect and compassion. At the beginning of the film, we find Wakanda in grief, shocked by the passing of their king. In the opening moments of the film, as T'Challa's family and community say goodbye to their king, his funeral service quickly becomes a celebration, as the streets are lined with dancing and music, a legacy worth commemorating. With T'Challa gone, Wakanda Forever primarily focuses on those left behind, like his sister Shuri, played by Letitia Wright, and his mother Ramonda, played by the wonderfully evergreen Angela Bassett. I mean, seriously, does this woman ever age? And don't tell me Botox, because her skin is virtually flawless everywhere else. She does not look 64. But I digress. The rest of the world seems to be concerned about Wakanda's stranglehold on vibranium. But what Wakanda doesn't realize, it isn't the only secretive nation with access to the stuff. And when the rest of the world begins looking for it, it unleashes the rest of the plot. Some commandos begin trying to find vibranium under the Atlantic Ocean using a machine built by undergrad Riri Williams, played by Dominique Thorne. But they don't realize they have trespassed on the secret nation of Talocan under the sea. Its people quickly dispatch the commandos in short order. Wakanda is worried that the rest of the world will think they dispatched the commandos. But just as they're discussing the ramifications, the true culprits show up offering an olive branch. Here is where we get not only a good dose of political intrigue, but also the introduction of Namor. Now, he's been a fixture of Marvel Comics lore since before time immemorial in 1939, predating even Captain America, who himself debuted in 1941. So there was a lot of background history to draw from. But the filmmakers decided to update his origin story. It's at points like these that I groan, ugh, because whenever such updates are presented, they are full of woke messaging, preaching, and modern ideology. Not here, though. Namor's origin is updated in quite an ingenious and creative way. He's the son of a Mayan tribeswoman who is forced to flee the murderous conquistadors. They find a plant grown in vibranium-rich soil, which alters their DNA to be able to breathe underwater. Here they have been hiding for nearly half a millennium. The film's depiction doesn't lean heavily, if at all, on its depiction of the conquistadors. It actually provides a fair and balanced interpretation of real-world history. It could have gone full woke and showed the massacres of Mayans, Aztecs, and Incans, but it stayed on point and on story. Personally, I truly wonder what sorts of technologies could have emerged from pre-Columbian societies. We know the Incans had a solid understanding of calculus and Mayans of physics and time. This is why I really enjoyed the backstory of the MCU's version of the Atlanteans. What happens next from there is an escalating series of moves and countermoves that to a large extent boils down to a 3-way battle of wills between Ramonda, Namor, and Shuri. When Shuri is kidnapped by Namor and introduced to Talocan, we get to see the first glimpse of the secretive nation. The design for Talocan is extraordinary, although I could tell that corners had to be cut in the special effects, which is quite unfortunate. But I guess not everyone has James Cameron's budget. But despite the rough visuals, Talocan is still a spectacular marvel to behold. While Ryan Coogler tried to flesh out this world just as he did in the first film with Wakanda, it seemed to be the missing piece of the puzzle. Here's hoping that Namor gets his own movie because I'd love to see more of Talocan's structure and politics. While most of the films in Marvel's Phase bore have been god-awful with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home, Wakanda Forever brings back Marvel true to form. While the first Black Panther film had a clear lead with T'Challa and a clear villain with Killmonger, Wakanda Forever is truly an ensemble film. It brings back the nuanced villains such as Thanos had prior to Endgame. I felt like I could understand Namor's plight. He was trying to protect his people from the horrors of the surface world. He had a clear motive for wanting to ally his kingdom with Wakanda. Recent MCU films have sorely lacked this exposition of clear motives for their characters, so it's actually a breath of fresh air and Marvel's return to form. The acting in the movie is spot on. While it's an ensemble film, the true standout has to be Tenoch Huerta as Namor. While this actor has been a fixture in Mexican media, this is one of his first big budget films, and he knocked it out of the ballpark on his first try. This made me think that this wasn't as much of a Black Panther film, but much rather a soft entry Namor film. Chadwick Boseman was such a commanding presence throughout his tenure in the MCU that introducing Namor was really the only crutch Ryan Coogler had. While M'Baku was a treat to have, he is a minor character, and Shuri just doesn't command the screen as well as T'Challa did in the first movie. This film was truly a group effort, and everyone pulled their weight. Now, I have to be honest with you, dear viewer. I went into this movie thinking it was going to be complete dog shit, but boy was I pleasantly surprised. After Endgame, Marvel's track record has been absolutely abysmal. While Spider-Man No Way Home was very good, with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of No Madness was barely passable, Eternals and Shang-Chi were just awful. And let's not get into the TV side of things because that's another bag of cow manure I'd rather not touch. Black Panther Wakanda Forever managed to achieve the truly unthinkable these days. Make a Black Panther movie and not be woke or full of modern ideology. Proof positive that you can make a good movie without all the woke garbage and still have a diverse cast. The film focused on two things that have been sorely lacking: a good story and respect. The film not only paid respect to the sad passing of Chadwick Boseman, but it also respected its audience by providing a good story. Characters had clear motives and story arcs. Each character played their role within the plot without pandering to the whims of the Twitterati hyper-minority. I suspect that Disney is coming to the realization that it doesn't pay to go woke. Their stock price has taken a massive hit after so many misses at the box office. The new CEO seems to be clearing out the activists, and there is a glimmer of hope with movies like Wakanda Forever and shows like Andor. Here's hoping we get a new renaissance in the MCU with good films such as these. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised with Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I truly wondered how the film would treat the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, but it did so with great respect, poise, and gravitas. It gave the character of T'Challa dignity and honor. It treated the introduction of Namor and the Kingdom of Talocan with creativity and imagination. Although lacking an Avatar-level budget, it did its best to show a new part of the larger world. I'm quite happy that the film didn't delve deeply into ideology, but focused on a cohesive narrative and exposition. This is how Marvel films should be, and if this continues, the MCU will rise to new heights. Bravo, Marvel. Bravo. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more great content.